Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of In Your Shoes. We've had some great submissions recently, and also we've had a great response to the show in general. So I thought, hey, you know what? It's a Saturday night. I decided to stay inside, cancel my plans, crack open. Oh, that went right into my PC. Man, maybe this episode's going to get cut short because that shot White Claw right into my PC. That is exactly what I wanted to have happen tonight. That was amazing. Woo, baby. Either way, this is In Your Shoes. This is an advice/Q&A style show that I've introduced to the channel where I answer questions from both my own audience, twitch.tv/TripShoes, live every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night, 6 p.m. EST, and just general advice questions that I find online that I think would make for an interesting little discussion, and maybe you'll get something out of it. Today we have a 2-for-1 question that I think could provide an interesting little discussion here right now on the channel as you guys are watching it. By the way, enjoy some Far Cry Primal gameplay. I've been playing this game a lot recently in my free time, and I said, hey, you know what? This will make for some good In Your Shoes content. So enjoy the gameplay. Enjoy me failing to do several stealth missions at every outpost that I visit. And I'm sure I'm going to get many comments down below about, oh, you should have done this better, or bro sucks at Far Cry Primal. I'd like to see you try, okay? Commenter that was going to comment that. I'd like to see you try Far Cry Primal. Yeah, it's not an easy game. You got to be a caveman. Like I said, this question is a 2-part question. So there's 2 parts to it. First part is, what's a saying or mindset you try to hold going into building your community as a content creator? Now, right off the bat, I don't really have a saying. I don't have like a motto or something that I chant to myself every time I press the go live button, but I definitely have a mindset. I want to just start off by saying I don't think I'm particularly good at building a community just yet, and that's something that I really want to work on these next 2 months as the year comes to an end. As I've mentioned, we have a follower goal of 500 followers on the Twitch channel, and maybe it's time we set a sub goal for the YouTube channel. I don't know yet, though. But either way, like I said, that's something that I'm trying to work on these next 2 months as the year comes to an end. But I always understand that if I had to say a mindset that I have going into trying to build a community, which is something you need to do as a content creator nowadays. And I'll go a little more into that later on, but ooh, excuse me, I just burped up. Sorry, I've had quite a few White Claws tonight. We're doing this one a little sauced up tonight. It's a Saturday night. I'm staying in, playing some Far Cry Primal for you guys. One thing I always try to understand is that my content is not for everyone. Everyone who happens to come across it on Twitch or YouTube, I always understand that people will come and go. It is a natural part of being a creator and also a viewer that you need to come to terms with. Everything's temporary. And I've joined communities as a viewer before. I've, watched their content. It got me through some difficult times. And then eventually I just realized that their content wasn't for me. And I think that was a good mentality to go into creating content myself, was to understand that it's okay that some people will stick around for a little while and then realize that it's, what you're doing is just not for them anymore. But I will say that I do believe that cultivating a community is a relatively new thing. Emphasis on relatively. As I think before, a content creator only needed to cultivate an audience at first. A group of people who come back and watch your content every time you upload or hit go live. But a community is a whole new thing. It's a whole different thing that requires a direct connection, or at least a sense of one, between the creator and the viewer. So as I navigate this relatively new territory, I feel as though it's important to understand that not everyone, like I said, not everyone's going to stick around forever. But some people will stick around for a good while, and you need to make it worth their while. That is my answer to this question, is that if you want to build a community, you need to understand that not everybody's going to stick around in that community. And that there is a difference between an audience and a community. An audience is the people that just sort of watch you. Maybe they come in every once in a while. Maybe they don't even chat. Maybe they just watch your YouTube videos. They don't comment. They don't like. They're not in your Discord. They don't follow you on social media. There's a difference between an audience and a community. And your community is going to consist of much more dedicated people. People who really like what you do, and they come back every video, every stream, and everything, and they're a little more engaged. Maybe they make art for your channel. Maybe they do edits for you or something like that, fan edits and whatnot. It's important to recognize that difference between the audience and the community. Who's your audience and who is your community? Because I absolutely have that, and that's okay. Maybe for whatever reason you're a member of what I would consider to be the audience and not my community, and you're watching this right now. Maybe you want to get a little more involved in my community. I would really appreciate that. I would put a big smile on my dumb little face. To reiterate the question, my mindset going into it is that you have a difference between your audience and your community. And you need to distinguish that difference first before you ever even want to start building community. Establish what you're all about. Establish what your values are. Decide what you will and won't accept within your community and not your audience. Because your audience are just people who are going to watch you whenever they want to watch you. Your community, because this is a question about building community, is far more important. And that's something that you should focus on a little bit more. Not to say that the audience is entirely irrelevant in the equation here. No, of course not. You want to try to get as many people from your audience into your community, but you also kind of want to weed things out a little bit, you know? That's my best way of summarizing this question. I have difficulty answering this one a little bit because, like I said, I don't think I'm good at building a community. I feel like that's something that I really struggle with. That's something that I want to get better at these next few months, is establishing my audience and my community, and also just focusing on my community just a little bit more, building that up, and, you know, feeling like I have a little more of an identity as a content creator here. And I think this show is helping to some extent. I actually think this show is helping me kind of bridge this gap that I've been trying to bridge for a long time. And you guys have been submitting some amazing questions. You guys have been super perceptive to the show and responsive, and so far everybody's really enjoyed it, and I think that's great. Now, that sort of answers that question there. Like I said, I feel like that's something that I hope I answered your question, the first part of your question, because like I said, whoever submitted this one submitted technically 2 questions in one, but I liked it so much. It was a great submission. By the way, amazing submission. The second half of the question is, how do you create that divide between coworker mindset with other creators, one-time opportunities, and being mutuals? First of all, content creation as of right now does not feel like work to me. It is very much a hobby that I'm trying to focus on a little bit more, and maybe one day make it my job. That would make me very happy if one day I can wake up and say, oh, hey, content creation is my full-time job. And it you know, pays all my bills, and I'm just able to sustain myself just being entertaining to you guys. But either way, this is a little bit more about collaboration, less about community, more about the people who I actually collaborate with. I will not be naming anybody by name, just to kind of remain a little bit general here, so to speak. But if you watch and you're a member of the community, like I said, you can probably, you know, think and picture who I'm talking about. Like I said, content creation does not feel like work to me. So my collaborators feel more like friends / like they said in this question, mutuals, than they do coworkers. I don't really have the coworker mindset when it comes to content creation. I don't feel like I collaborate with anybody or stream with anybody or make videos with anybody who I feel like gives me that coworker vibe. We've all worked jobs before where you meet somebody, you know, a coworker of yours, and you're like, oh, wow, we would never be friends outside of work, but I have to pretend to tolerate you because we have the 4 to 9 shift at Target in the fashion department this evening, so I got to pretend to get along with you as you post a bunch of political memes on your Facebook and try to show them to me. You guys get what I'm saying here. I don't get that mindset, the coworker mindset, which is something I thoroughly understand. And I'm not saying you can't be friends with your coworkers, but there's a specific thing called the coworker mindset, and it's not something that I personally feel when it comes to the people who I collaborate with, because I'm very selective with who I choose to collaborate with. If I feel like if you don't mesh well with me and my community and my audience, as we mentioned in the previous question, then chances are I'm not going to collaborate with you. I have to read you really well. And something that I trust, something that I have significant confidence in within myself is my own intuition. And that's my ability to read people, even through a screen, even through how they present themselves online. And that's another thing, is that it's important to understand that your favorite content creator, and this maybe kind of goes back to the first question a little bit, but also pertains to this question a little bit, is that your favorite content creator is not presenting their true selves all the time, always. They're all putting on a character. They're all putting on a show. An exaggerated form of their own self. And that's something that I feel with myself too, is that I'm never really the true Dan, you know? I'm an exaggerated form of myself. I joke about things that I wouldn't joke about normally, you know, in my day-to-day life on stream, or I exaggerate things, I should say, not joke. That makes me sound like an edgelord or something like that. That's not what I am. I mean, maybe I am a little bit. Who knows? Maybe to some people, I'm just like the biggest edgelord on the planet, but I don't think that's true for me at all. Like I said, let's kind of circle back to the original question here. I feel like to an extent, you kind of answered your own question within the question here. And that is that you already distinguish the difference between these things, which is other creators that you collaborate with, one-time opportunities, and being mutuals. So you already kind of understand that there's a difference between those three things. Obviously, there's some content creators who I collaborate with, and we're just purely collaborators. We just appear on the same streams together. Then I have people who are mutuals, some of which I would consider to be internet friends. And I do think that internet friends are just as valid and real as real life friends. There's a difference between the two, but it's almost its own thing that can have its same importance to you personally. For me, at least as a content creator, that's how I feel. And then there's one-time opportunities. And as long as you understand the difference between those three things, you'll never really have to create the divide yourself between, you know, what those three things are, and also not getting into that coworker mindset. Because I feel like a coworker is somebody you're kind of forced to be involved with. Newsflash when it comes to content creation. So as long as you're not signed under any contract or anything like that, you don't have to collaborate with somebody if you don't like them. There's nothing that's forcing you to go collaborate with somebody, go live or make a video with somebody if you don't like them. So the answer to your question was within your question already. Is you establish those three things first, and then establish the fourth thing of what feels like it would be a coworker type situation if I were to collaborate with this person. Well, either way, to keep this video relatively short and to kind of keep it within the time range of what Far Cry Primal footage that I have, hopefully you guys enjoyed it and didn't think I sucked too bad at the game. I hope I answered your questions well enough. These were both very good questions to submit to the show. I loved these questions. I thought that they were very challenging to me in a way. Something that I guess I haven't really thought about yet. Or maybe I have and I just didn't really put it to words yet. So this one was actually a bit of a challenge for me to answer, and that's good. In fact, I have a challenge for all of you guys. If you're watching this right now, if you're listening to this, you're an audio listener and you have no idea what I'm saying about Far Cry Primal or whatever the hell, my challenge to you is to submit a question. I'll answer it. It doesn't have to pertain to content creation. It doesn't have to pertain to anything at all. It can be personal. It can be, dealing with friendships in real life. It can deal with IRL stuff. Just submit a question and I'd love to review it and decide if it's good enough for an episode of In Your Shoes. Because, by the way, guys, this has been In Your Shoes. I love doing this show. It's been very, very fun for me. Very new experience for me, and that's good. It's good to experience new things. In fact, that's another challenge that I have for all my listeners right now. Go out there and go experience something new, okay? It's good for you. Get a little bit uncomfortable because it's good for you. Go collaborate with somebody. A coworker. In fact, reach out to your coworker and go collaborate with. I'm kidding. No. If you don't want to collaborate, like I said, if you don't want to collaborate with somebody, and you feel like you have that coworker mindset when it comes to like creating content with other creators, then I think you're kind of in the wrong spot as a content creator. That's my best way to summarize that last question. I feel like I didn't quite hit that mark just yet, but I feel like we just hit it right then and there. By the way, guys, this is In Your Shoes. You can submit a question in the link down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And actually, I think we can close out with one last question. And that is, why do you be like that, though? And the answer to that is, that's just the way that I am. It's the way that I was built, the way that I was born, and the way that I will always be. And if you don't like it, well, babe, I'll see you later. Ain't nice. Little Viagra Boys reference for you guys. If you don't know, then, well, maybe you're in the wrong place. Have a good morning, good evening, good night, and good day, or something. Go play Far Cry Primal. I guess. It's a pretty fun game. I'm actually going to go play more right after I finish recording this episode and editing it, and then probably putting it up on the channel.